I want to be a professional boxer. What is step one?
So literally step one,
Literally step one.
boxing is a very um, different kind of sport. When you're in a boxing ring, it's 99% mental and only 1% physical.
What role does tawakkul play in your life or career?
Everything. Run it, walk it, or crawl it. Just stay on your journey and stay on your road. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. In Saudi Arabia and in the Arab world, you're fighting for a whole side of the world.
I'm just gonna let the video editors know I'm gonna choose maybe 40 to 50 clips to include on social media. It'll be above the limit.
When a punch lands clean, this is gonna. I'm trying to say that this is
Say
not a
directly.
violent sport.
How do boxers make money? That's my biggest question. And is it even sustainable long term?
We are the boxing capital of the world today. So the best place to start boxing in the world today is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Welcome back to Discussions. A very special thank you to Al Mashtal for helping make yet another episode of Discussions possible. Today's episode is very special because we're diving in the world of boxing, professional boxing. So if you've ever been interested in pursuing boxing as a career, if you've ever wanted to know more about boxing, this is the episode for you. Joining me today, I have Ziyad Al-Maayouf, Saudi professional boxer. Ziyad, thank you for joining me on Discussions.
Thank you for having me. I love this space, by the way. It's really nice. I was just saying the lighting, the setup, it kind of makes you want to open up. Yeah.
It's very comfortable. This is the atmosphere we wanted to create.
I love it.
So thank you genuinely for joining me.
No, thank you for having me, really.
So I want to go back in time. I want to see. So from my research, you started boxing professionally at 22, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So before 22, what were you doing before then? And how did you know this is the career you wanted to pursue?
So I've been training since 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's why I always say the stars kind of aligned with this career, because what are the chances that there's a young Saudi kid training since 11 years old, and then when Saudi, begins that reform and begins that revamping completely with Vision 2030, and then they choose to invest in boxing the most, and then little do they know there's a Saudi kid who's been preparing for over a decade for that same chance and same opportunity in that same sport. So I've been training since 2011. Before boxing, I was in tennis. And it was like a big sports complex. And when we used to warm up for tennis, we'd go on the running track first, then hit the tennis court. So each sport kind of had its own, in any sport complex, each sport had its own designated area, equipment, team, athletes, all of that. So when we hit the running track for the warm-ups, just the reflex drills, the sprints, all of that, every sport had its area and everything except boxing. Boxing only had a coach standing on the running track with his mitts, and people are lined up waiting for their turn with him. So it just tells you enough about what boxing used to be. But when I would be warming up for tennis, I couldn't help but hear the boxing training and hear the sounds, the intensity, the motivation. And then, week after week after week, I'd get distracted and I'd start looking over to that side, and I'd have to be yelled out from my tennis coach to focus. So then I went home one day and I started researching Saudi professional boxers and even Arab professional boxers. And Saudi and Arab boxers in general, I wasn't a professional then yet. So I found no one. I found no one to idolize or no one to look up to, because when at a young age and you're looking for an idol, you look for someone you can relate to. You look for someone who's come up the same way you did or had to go through the same struggles and so on. And then you'd idolize them because they did what you want to do. Any Arab boxer that I had ever found in the scene either had lived abroad their whole life, born and raised abroad their whole life, where the equipment, the training, the knowledge, the idea on the sport is different. And then aside from Arab boxers, there wasn't any Saudi boxer abroad, here, or anywhere. So then I said, that's what I want to do, because I feel like we always look for value, and at a young age, we always look for self-value. and that's what gave me the most value. I wanted to do something no one's done. I wanted to help others do it after I've done it, and I wanted to make history. I just wanted to have something that no one can ever take away from me.
That's brilliant. I want to ask you, what did it feel like when you first put on those boxing gloves in 2011? What was that moment like for you? Did
I
you know what you were
remember
doing? I mean,
I remember I'm gonna try to remember as much as I can. But in the beginning, when I opened up to my parents about me wanting to box, there was like big backlash
yeah.
from my parents. Given that we're nine siblings, so
Sure.
I'm one of the younger ones, and my dad didn't want one of us coming back home and started to punch each one of so the from the outside, boxing looks like it's a very violent sport, and it's a big combat sport where you have to where your anger controls you and you let it out, and all of the stuff we hear about boxing before. But I remember when I first put on the gloves, then I learned that nothing helps me control my anger more than boxing did. It was a feeling of I'm in control of everything. I'm in control of my emotions, my physical, my mental state. I'm in control of just everything. And it felt so good because I had never been, or I don't think we're born naturally able to control our anger or able to control our emotions so well and manage them and channel them into something. So when I first put on those gloves, it felt like I was set free, and I was set free because I was able to control and suppress everything that had held me from being set free. So boxing is a very um, different kind of sport. I feel like even aside from all combat sports, boxing is just that. That's why they call it the sweet science.
It's a mental sport, I think. I know. So I used to run track and field back in the day. When I became a journalist, I went out of shape. But back in the day, I used to run track and field. And I remember maybe more than 50% of it was just the mental game, kind of putting yourself in that mentality of not psyching yourself out and physically pushing your body. When you're in the ring, what part does mental play in that?
99%. Like I'm sure you've heard 70-30,
Mm-hmm.
64. I'm telling you, when you're in a boxing ring, it's 99% mental and only 1% physical. You could be, you know, prepared not to your max in a physical way for a fight, but if your mental is 100%, you're going to win. Even if someone else is prepared 100% physically, but their mental state is at 50. So it is all mental because under the bright lights, when it's fight night, the work is done. So all the physical work is all done because when we go prepare for a fight, we go into a training camp. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
people kind of don't know about professional boxing, where for a 45-minute fight, we prepare for a minimum of 8 weeks, two
Oh,
months for a fight. We usually travel, we isolate ourselves, we go to a different city, a different country with our coach where you're alone. It's an individual sport, you don't have a team. So you train twice and three times a day. You go to training alone and you come back alone. You have to lose a lot of weight. So you're not going out, you're not eating out, you're not seeing people. You don't know people to see wherever city and country you and your
yeah.
coach choose. So it's a very, very different mental space. And it takes a very big toll, actually, to the point where sometimes after a fight, it takes you a few weeks to get out of that mental space. But the fight is all 99% mental because if you aren't calm under pressure, if you aren't composed under pressure, if you aren't thinking with clarity, if you aren't patient, but then you have to be clear enough in your mental state to when you see an opening, you take it quickly, you don't doubt yourself, you don't worry, you're not scared, you have courage, all of that stuff. So if all of that is there, then you would win. But if you have the stamina, the muscles, the speed, the strength, but you have doubt, fear, worry, and anxiety and pressure, and you're not able to control that, it doesn't matter how good you are physically. you will not do anything to win that fight.
So
It's just too many emotions.
That's so interesting. I never thought of it like that because I told you I went to my first boxing match and
Yeah.
I lasted maybe 5 minutes. I left immediately. I think it just, but you don't think of the mental, the side of it because I just think of these two guys hitting each other. That's all I saw.
Yeah.
But there is a mental game, there's a mental aspect, and hearing from you is kind of enlightening because it shows you that other side. But I'm curious to know when you're in that boxing ring, when the bright lights are on you, what's going through your mind? Are you thinking or do you kind of just block everything out?
You're at the peak level of focus you could ever be as a human. When I say that, I mean you hear everything, you listen to everything, you notice everything. But in psychology, there are four types of focuses. There is something called, internal focus and external focus. And then there's internal abroad, internal broad, internal narrow, and then external broad, external narrow. So when you are fighting, you are gonna choose one of those four focuses, and the difference between them is, for example, when I'm fighting, I'm usually a very internal broad. So what internal broad focus means is that you are no like you tell your mind and you realize and you take notice that you are on a mission and you have to focus on something, but you're aware of everything else around you. I hear everything. I can hear everyone talking. It's actually very strange. Sometimes you could hear somebody from the stands laughing. Your mind just opens up to a very different level of focus, but you have to zone in and you have to lock in on only one voice, your coach, or maybe multiple voices, your team, your coach, and the two, three people around them. Then you have to only zone in on one person, visually, your opponent. But then, when you're listening, it has to be the team and the coaches. Even though his team, your opponent's team, is there and they're speaking too, but you just aren't listening to them. And because you aren't listening to them, you can't hear them. It's not that, oh, you
Yeah.
just can't hear them. It's you reach a specific level of self-control where you're able to control everything. You're able to control who to listen to, who to not, who to focus on, who to not. You're able to control your own emotions too. What kind of emotions do I need now for this fight? What kind of emotions do I not need? Okay, I'll sideline these emotions. You can't ever in life completely dismiss any emotions. But there's something called emotional parking. So you park these emotions and then you deal with specific emotions in the near future. So then you park a few emotions, you use some emotions, and so much is just going on. It's a whole
Yeah.
mental storm. But one thing for sure that really, really I always think about is why I'm in that ring. And my why when I'm in that ring is what either keeps me going when I need it, or keeps me winning when I feel like I won't, or really eventually makes me win a fight when I really need to.
Ziyad, your brain is so cool. The way your mind works is so cool. I'm just listening and I was like, mashallah. So, fun fact, Ziyad studied psychology, right?
Yeah.
So, I have a two-part question for you. A lot of boxers, professional boxers that we know historically, they didn't necessarily go and pursue university or college. They dedicated their time to training. So, my first question is, why did you feel you needed to go and get your undergrad to go university? And then also, do you feel that psychology gave you an upper edge in the boxing ring?
100%. I wanted to finish my psychology degree because it didn't matter to me how long it was going to take. What mattered to me is when I start something, I finish it.
Yeah.
So I'm not a start something and then get into something else, so not finish that degree. Because it's more of a self reflection and it's more of a message that I carry with me in my life and I like to preach in my life, where I would rather finish something and take a long time to finish it than to not finish it at all. And that's where I feel like what really sometimes stops athletes from finishing their degree or pursuing their studies, or even if it's anything away from the sport, is comparison. You get to compare to other people who finished their degree, and you say to yourself, they finished it in 4 years, then I'm not going to be able to finish it in 4 years, so might as well not do it at all. Everyone is on a separate journey,
I agree.
and comparison is the enemy of that. Comparison is the enemy of your own journey. But if you start comparing the timeline of person A and person B to your own timeline, then your timeline won't ever get finished, and you'll never be on that road because you're trying to walk someone else's journey. You're trying to walk someone else's timeline, and you're trying to finish on their deadlines and so on. But I chose to just finish that degree because I'm very passionate about it. And if you're very passionate about something, it's impossible to quit it, no matter how bad you want it. Honestly, if you are passionate about journaling or podcasting or sports and boxing, or your degree, your major, it's always gonna be lingering in your mind. So passion, I think, is a very big reason of why I always finish everything when I started. But then when I chose psychology to be my major, is because I really needed it in the sport. I had so many questions when I was boxing. I would feel a specific type of way and I don't know why. I would make my opponent feel a specific type of way and I don't know why. And then it would carry on to life. You know, I would go through so many situations in my life. If it's just a problem with a friend, or an issue with my family, with my parents, or if it's a dead end to my purpose, or if I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling lost. So then I wanted solutions for all of that. Because, like I told you, in boxing, I'm in control of everything. It's an individual sport. I don't have a team. If I win, it's up to me. If I lose, it's up to me. And I get to control everything, after God, of course, but I get to control everything that I need. So to be in life and not be able to control all of that, I wanted the answers and the solution. So I went to psychology. And after I went to psychology, now I have too many answers and solutions. It's not fun.
But it's good. You know how to analyze different situations and obstacles you face.
Exactly,
It's brilliant.
exactly. I think it's the secret to life. But again, I analyze my own journey and I don't compare it to anyone else, because I can go through a similar problem to someone else and they deal with it perfectly. And not because they dealt with it faster than I did, and then they dealt with it better than I did. Sometimes if I deal with it slower and longer, sometimes that means you're dealing with it better. But people don't understand that. When you're going through anything in life, if it's a friendship, if it's a relationship, if it's a conflict in your job, your life, and you start comparing to the people, you always start comparing to the people who did it faster. You don't ever compare to the people who did it better, because you don't know that. You don't know the difference between who did it better and who did it worse. You always just know the difference between who did it faster and who did it slower. And you think faster means better, slower means worse.
Exactly.
And then you go through it slower and you're like, oh, I'm doing it so much worse. But then eventually we always know. Eventually, after we go through it and after it's all done and we go through our storm and we look back, we're like, oh, we're so glad we went through it that slow, because it's gotten me to the point where I am now and it's better. And then the cycle repeats itself and you go through the same exact emotions and you doubt yourself again and you go through the same fear, the worry, you compare. And it's just a cycle that repeats itself. But we never take the time to self reflect.
I agree.
We always let time, move faster than we do.
So your mind is interesting. I keep saying that because the way your brain works, I mean, not to be very cliche or stereotypical, but when I think of a boxer, I don't think of this like psychology genius that's very like enlightened within and knows, I don't know. It's very stereotypical, but it's interesting. You're like this walking contradiction. It's so interesting.
Walking contradiction is a new one.
It's great. Sorry. Okay, so the whole concept of discussions is we want to be as helpful as possible for those aspiring to follow in your footsteps as a boxer. So I want you to kind of paint me a picture. Pretend that we're in training camp and you're waking up as Ziyad yourself. What does your day look like? Firstly, what time do you wake up? And walk us through your entire day in training. If you can.
That's actually a nice one. No one's ever asked me that. um, I'm a guy who, contrary to what people might think of a boxer, I'm a person who starts their training very late,
Okay.
but I also finish very late. I like that. I like the quietness at night, and I like to start late because not because I'm lazy or anything. I usually don't get much sleep because of the pressure. But because I understand that and I know that this is how I deal with stuff and this is my own journey, I don't have to do the 5 a.m. training, 6 a.m. late night runs and start. I'm not able to do that because I carry a lot on my back.
Mm.
I carry a lot on my shoulders with me being the first ever Saudi pro boxer, trying to achieve this, that. I'm fighting very tough opponents. So that always lingers in my mind when I'm fighting. Not the idea will I win or lose, but the idea of meeting the expectations, the idea of living up to the pressure, the idea of all of that. So that gets me not sleeping at all, but I sleep later. So then to get my whole sleep, my coach knows that we'll just start training later. So I start my boxing around 1 p.m.
Okay.
And after, first of all, you cook all your own meals. Don't have somebody cooking for you and all of that stuff, all the stuff you see on TV, and that doesn't happen
Okay.
in real life. So you wake up in the morning, you cook your own meals. I have my dog. I
What
have
do
a
you
Great
eat?
Dane.
What do you eat normally?
Oh,
What's
that's
your go-to meal for
so
training?
not
Is it not
the
good?
not the best stuff because you're on a very big calorie deficit.
Okay.
So we have to lose a lot of weight for our fight. Um, you usually lose around 11 or 12 or 13 kilograms
Wow.
in those 8 weeks. It's 8 to 10 weeks to lose that. There is not a single. I don't want to even say a cheat day. There's not a single cheat smell. You can. I swear you can't.
It's just protein, protein, protein. Or what are you
You
eating?
can't cheat on any meal. Your nutritionist is on top of you. Everything is measured.
Mm.
Everything is calculated exactly for performance. So it's not even the calorie deficit that could get fun, where you could get creative with your meals and have some low calorie pancakes or whatever. No,
Yeah.
you can't do that. You have to have stuff that is made for performance. So it's called performance nutrition, where it's full of, for example, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds sometimes, the small annoying stuff that you have to
Yeah.
take in your day. And the nutrition program doesn't change because the more that you eat the same stuff over and over, the more your body gets used to it and the easier you're able to perform in training without any digestion problems or your stomach not feeling well or you don't feel. The focus is performance. The focus is not the food right now. For 8 to 10 weeks, the focus is
Yeah.
training. And I love food. So so it's horrible to be in. That's why in boxing we say there are two fights. There's fight night and there's the fight to the weigh-in. And we
Yeah.
celebrate twice actually. We weigh in the night before the fight, the day before the fight. When we weigh in, we celebrate. We go out, we eat with your team, and the vibes are good and everything. Then you zone back in, then you fight, then inshallah you win, and then you do it all over again.
Mm.
So I wake up, I cook, I go to training. My first training, 1 p.m., that's my boxing training. I usually stay in my boxing training for about 3 hours. It's very detailed, very hardworking, and it's very the small details matter. It's not training camp is not the time to improve. Training camp is the time to prepare.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean when I say we prepare for a fight for 8 weeks or 10 weeks, that doesn't mean you're not training year round. The training that you do year round away from training camp, it's to improve. You're eating all you want to eat, you feel good, you feel energized. You just go into training and you try to improve on the stuff that you need to improve on. But in training camp, you prepare. And you can't improve while trying to prepare. And you can't prepare to the best you can when you're trying to improve. And I believe that's right in boxing and in life. You have to separate the time you're going to take to improve and the time you're going to take to prepare. After my 3 hours of boxing, I go back home, I cook, and I rest a bit. Then I go to my strength and conditioning training, and that's my weightlifting.
It's nonstop then. It's
Yeah,
like training all
it
day.
is nonstop to be honest because again, contrary to belief that boxers and athletes can't lift heavy weights,
Mm.
athletes and boxers have to lift the heaviest weight. And that's how physics works. You know, if you move a heavy force quickly, then you're going to be able to punch faster. You're going to be able to punch stronger. Because if you lift a specific lift 120
What are you
kilograms,
benching right now?
I don't even know. I just go in. I go what I call it in training camp. I
Yeah.
go into autopilot.
Okay.
The coach tells me lift
Just
that.
lifting,
I
you
just
just
go
go.
in and
Do
I
the sets and
and I
then.
lift and I yeah. You have to go into a zone where you just zone in. So the faster you move a force, the stronger you will punch, and the faster you will punch because you're used to moving such heavy forces
Yeah.
in a fast way. So then when you start just punching and it's your arm, it's nothing. And everything is detailed with the strength and conditioning team. When I tell you this performance team, they're one of the best in the world. And they have in their performance center, it's hooked up with wires and sensors that test everything. So, for example, sometimes we do something called the vertical jump, where you just
Yeah.
load and you jump very high. To anyone that could just look like a jump, when to boxers, there's a correlation between how high you jump and how strong you punch. So the higher you jump, the stronger you punch. And we keep training on those things that we call plyometric. Um, when you jump, they have sensors in the gym. Your flight time is measured, your ground contact time is measured, and your ground force is measured. So the gym feels like you're
That's
walking
so
into an
interesting.
Iron Man or a Tony Stark
Yeah.
lab, you know? Everything is measured and you're hooked up with just different wires on your body that shows your muscle efficiency, how fast you're moving the weights, how strong you're moving the weights. And then they measure everything every week and you have to be improving. You have to be improving. So that's usually an hour and a half.
Sure.
Then I go home, I take a small snack, then I go to run. A small, usually it's a light 30-minute run, and that alternates. One day it's a light 30-minute run, and then the second day is called the conditioning runs. And that's that what prepares you for the stamina, for the fights. And you do that every day. 6 days a week, you have one rest day for 8 weeks or 10 weeks, every single day, alone. No team, no one. You go to the gym alone, you come back alone. Your best friends become your coaches. These are the guys you joke with, these are the guys you talk with. Some coaches actually become your therapists, you know. You get used to opening up to a specific coach. This guy helps you with this guy with this stuff. This coach is more you can relate to on like a religious level, so you get to speak to them. And you, because you're abroad, for example, I'm a Muslim. My coaches, most of them are Christian. But when I say that, it doesn't mean that we can't relate on a religious level. So I still do relate to some of them on a religious level, and we talk about the faith and how God will get me to win, and I have to relax. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You could see a calm and a composed Ziyad now, but in training camp, it's
Different.
a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure that you have to manage. Never dismiss, but manage.
I imagine. I mean, we had Hell Week in track and field, but it was 1 week. It wasn't 8 weeks of that. And I hated my life every single day.
Yeah.
But 8 weeks, I can't
8 weeks.
imagine that. Mine was only 1 week, and it's intense. Okay, so I have a weird question, and I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, do I include it in the questions? Do I not include it in the questions? When you're in the ring, and say you get punched in the face really hard, okay? Do you feel that pain, or is there adrenaline rushing through you to where you don't feel it?
So you don't feel the pain.
What does it feel like?
You feel the effect of the punch.
Okay.
So when I say that, I mean when a punch lands clean. This is gonna. I'm trying to say that this
No,
is
say
not
it
a violent
directly.
sport,
Yeah,
but
because
what
there
I'm
is-
about to say
No,
is
it's
just
okay.
very violent. Okay.
Because there's a mental
Yeah.
area to it, so it's fine. Say it.
So the adrenaline is all rushed in your system, right? So you don't feel the pain of the punch. You don't ever. That's why I don't ever see boxers, making a sound like, oh, you're not gonna see that.
Yeah.
Not because we're tough, but we can't feel it, but we feel the effect of the punch. And when I say that, I mean if a punch lands clean, for example, in on your jaw, which is the most sensitive area to get knocked out, for example, you'll get dizzy, or you sometimes see flashing lights, or you could see what we call stars, where one eye could go a little. If you stand up very quickly,
Yeah.
and you get that black
Okay.
yeah, that feeling. You kind of get that feeling sometimes. There's a very bad one
What is
where if you get hit in the temple on the right side of the head, sometimes the left leg goes numb. Yeah, and you have to,
Tricky.
but you train for that though.
What
In
do
the
you
strength
do?
and conditioning in camp, there's something called muscle buffering. And what that does, it builds lactic acid in your leg. And lactic acid means the feeling you get when your leg goes numb, or the feeling you get when you're doing so many reps at the gym and your leg
Yeah.
starts to burn. So we train ourselves to perform past that. We train ourselves to push past that, or we train our body, not our mentality. You want to all the time, but sometimes you physically can't because you don't have the adaptation. So what your strength and conditioning team does, it gives you that adaptation. It gets your legs feeling like that, and you have to sprint like that, or you have to train like that. You have to lift like that. So yeah, sometimes you get hit here, your left leg goes numb, or you get
It's
hit
crazy.
here and your right leg goes numb. Yeah. So there's one very, very bad one where, if you see a boxer get punched in the body
Okay.
and they go down, that's not pain. That's usually your organs sending a message to your brain telling your body to shut down. So you can see a boxer like squinch like that, but that's because not because of pain, but it's usually because you can't control not going like that.
Yeah.
Your organs are telling your body you have to go like that. And so then it feels painful, or you think it feels painful, but you're not feeling that sharp pain because your liver is one of the most sensitive areas. And in boxing, contrary to belief again, if you really, really want to knock someone out, uh, and it doesn't matter their size, their strength, if you hit them in the liver, and it doesn't have to be strong, it just has to land at the right area, they're gonna go down. Not because they're weak, but because your organs are gonna send that message to
Sensitive.
your brain to go down.
Is that allowed? Are you allowed to aim for the liver?
Yeah, of course.
Of
And
course.
when you sleep on your arm for a long time and
Yes.
then it gets so numb where you try to look at your arm to close and open your fist, but you can't. Like your brain is trying to tell your arm to close and open, but it's so numb you can't. That's that feeling. Your body all of a sudden goes down on your knees and you're trying to tell your body to get up, but your body is not gonna get up. That's just how the brain works. If the organs sends that message, you're not getting up. So
Is that when they tap out, or was that like when does
yeah.
it get to the tap out point? Is my question.
So there's a difference between a knockdown and a knockout.
Okay.
So a knockdown is usually when you go down and you get back up. That's called a knockdown. Where if you go down, you have to get up before the count of 8. You have a maximum of 10, but usually the ref wants you up by 8, so he could see that you're well. Because the ref's job is to stop the fight before you get knocked out. So if he sees any signs that you might go or you're not fit and able to continue, he's gonna stop it. So you have to get up before 8. A knockout is when you go down and you don't get up, no matter what it's from. If it's that you completely go out, some punches you faint, they just shut you out. So that's a knockout. Or if you go down from, like, for example, a liver punch and you don't make it up by 10, or you don't make it up by 8, that's a knockout too. So yeah.
Have you been knocked out? You don't have to
No,
say.
no, no,
Okay,
no,
no,
no.
really.
Thank God. Yeah,
Never.
no,
Alhamdulillah,
no.
good.
I'm known. Alhamdulillah.
I'm pretty good, Lama. I'm the best,
I'm
actually. You
known
don't
for
know
my
that.
defense. I'm known
Okay,
for
that's
my
good.
defense. Yeah, not the best or anything like that, but I'm known for my defense. So which is something I really built on with my coach, who was a defensive fighter.
Okay.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's a 2-time world champion in 2 different weight classes, like he was, back in the day. And he was known as a defensive fighter. So we're big believers in your defense is your offense, like they call it. If you're not
True.
getting punched, you're not losing. So that's what your defense is your offense means.
What's your, like, I don't know if I should ask this. What's your go-to punch? Is there a go-to punch?
My jab. My left hand.
What is that? What is that? Like a
So your jab is your lead hand.
okay.
Because usually we have our right leg in the back,
Uh-huh.
your left leg in front if you're right-handed, and then the left hand, your lead hand, is the one that controls everything. It's the most important punch in boxing. They tell you a good jab will take you around the corner,
Mhm.
but a great jab will take you around the world. And I'm known for my jab, and it took me around the world.
Inshallah. Yeah.
After God, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah,
But
ya Rab.
you know, it's the most important thing. It's gotten me out of trouble so many times because I fight very good opponents,
Mhm.
international opponents. And coming from Saudi Arabia and the Arab world, building here for more than 10 years before I eventually moved to the States, we didn't have the knowledge that they have. We didn't have the equipment that they have. The US and the UA and the US and the UK are the capital of boxing. But I came from a place that didn't even have a boxing ring or boxing bags or boxing knowledge, not even boxing on TV. So to be able to compete with those international opponents today, I need to have a very good jab because the jab controls everything, controls what I do and controls what they do as well.
It's so interesting. Honestly, I'm sorry I got off topic with the whole boxing and I'm just because this is a new world for me. And
I
it's
love
not
talking about it.
exactly. It's not every day you get a boxer in front of you. You can actually ask them. I get politicians, which is fine, but it's boring. Yani.
Yeah.
This is cool. Okay, so I want to ask you for anyone wanting to follow in your footsteps, everyone wanting to be a boxer, what role do you believe, physical build, natural God given build plays? And what role do you believe, your environment plays, training, diet? So it's like nature versus nurture. What role do you believe the two play? And-
So your God given physical abilities
Mhm.
mean nothing.
Okay, good.
They mean nothing. So, like when you hear stuff when they say hard work beats talent, when talent doesn't work hard. So, hard work is always going to beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that means if you have God given abilities and you are competing against someone who has God given physical abilities, but you work harder than them, you are going to beat them. And if you control more variables than they do, you're going to beat them. That's why I said it's 99% mental. If someone is 100% physically better than I am, but I am just 1% mentally better than he is, I'm going to win. So that's how not just boxing, not just sports, but life works. If it's a job, if it's university, if it's studies, if it's music, if it's painting, if it's boxing, if you work hard and if you outwork the talented, you are going to win. And if you control more variables than all around you, you are going to be better. So, God given abilities don't play any role in how far you will reach in the sport. It might get you to a specific level faster than
Mhm.
someone else, but if you don't let that comparison stop you, you're going to eventually surpass them. So my dad always told me, no matter what happens, stay on the road. And I never knew what that meant. And so I keep always asking him, and I asked him one day, I was like, what does that mean? You always say, just stay on the road, stay on the road, stay on the road. I was like, sometimes I feel tired. He's like, that's okay. You could feel tired, but stay on the road. What do you mean? He said, run it, walk it, or crawl it. Just stay on your journey and stay on your road. Nobody said that you can't take breaks sometimes. Nobody said that it's wrong to get tired sometimes or it's wrong to feel like you're pushed to your limits. If you ever feel like you're pushed to your limits, you're tired, just stop. Stand there. Do nothing, but stay on that road. I think it was Denzel Washington that said, don't confuse movement with progress. And sometimes no movement at all is so much better progress than the wrong movement towards progress. So if you just stay on your road doing nothing and you're resting and you're taking a break, that's progress. But if you are pushed to your limits and you get tired and you try to look for movement just to feel like you're doing something and you start swerving away from your road and swerving away from your journey, trying to look for a solution because you're comparing yourself to other people who are doing it faster and you think that's better, that's not progress. That's movement, but not all movement is progress.
Sure.
So stay on your road, run it, walk it, or crawl it. That to me is the biggest message I could give to anyone who is trying to get into boxing, especially from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, especially from the Arab world and this region, because we still are building towards the level of experienced international opponents. And that's natural. They just have years of experience on us. Today, we are the fight capital of the world. Nobody can disagree on that. Nobody can even doubt that. Everybody talks about Saudi Arabia. Everybody wants to come to Saudi Arabia. Everybody wants to fight in Saudi Arabia. That's true. But they, as fighters, they have years of experience that they have years of experience on us.
Yeah.
But not because they have years of experience on us, it doesn't mean that you're not better. You are better. You are stronger. You are faster. But if you control the variables of you are calmer, you deal with the pressure better, you manage the emotions better, you have a stronger why. Some boxers that come from the US, the UK, anywhere in Europe, anywhere from the West, there are so many boxers, so they're fighting for themselves, their own journey, or maybe some of them for their family, for their kids. That's respectable. But in Saudi Arabia and in the Arab world, you're fighting for a whole side of the world. And that's why in interviews, I always say, and in press conferences, I always say, this is a multi-generational story. Every generation, you get the power puncher, the fast puncher, the slick one, but it's only multi-generational where you get the history maker, where you get the great one, where you get someone who's not just representing a city or a state or a street sometimes, but you're representing a whole country in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where the pressure is on you not to just perform, but not to just win, but to perform, not to just perform, but to become a superhero, to become a superhero, not just for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but for the Arab world, for a whole side of the world. So when you take that with you to the ring against international opponents, no one can stand in front of you. So boxing physically is a lot easier than it might look from the outside. But once you're really zoned in and you're in it, just be sure to know that it's all mental.
I'm just going to let the video editors know I'm going to choose maybe 40 to 50 clips to include on social media. It'll be above the limit. Because listening to you speak alone, I'm just thinking clip. There's so many inspiring messages you've made, not just as a Saudi citizen, but, as a boxer, as someone who did this yourself, who had this dream at a very young age.
God did it.
Alhamdulillah, ya
God
Rabbi,
did it.
أكيد. But you also, put in the work yourself. Allah blessed you, أكيد. But you put in that work as well. So for people listening to your message, watching this video at home, they know that they can do it because they're listening to you and they've seen you do it. You're paving the way for them to follow in the future.
Exactly.
So that's how I know there's going to be a million clips in this video that I'm going to put. So I'm so sorry to say that now to the editor. Okay, so we're talking about advice. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten, whether it's your career in boxing or your personal life?
Well, I kind of already said it
Your dad,
with
your
my
advice.
dad. That was the best advice that I've gotten from my dad. But if I would have to talk about a whole other set of advice, and the most important advice that I've always gotten on this journey, before anybody gets into the sport, before anybody gets into anything, I really want to just really make this broad and go out there so more people can relate. If you want to be a high achiever in anything, if you want to do something different, walk a road that no one's walked, or be the first one to walk it in your family, between your friends, in your country, whatever it is, you need to know that you will doubt more than you will be confident. You will feel more pressure than you will feel calmness. And that is perfectly normal. And so I got the best advice from my coach, Buddy McGirt, and he told me, trust the process. And it's so easy to just hear it and just say to yourself, trust the process. But you actually have to believe it. You have to believe that the ups wouldn't mean anything without the downs. And the downs wouldn't hurt that much if you didn't have such amazing ups. But you have to trust the process that after a down, there's always an up. And after an up, there's always going to be a down. So what shocks us from, or what makes it harder for us to deal with moments and emotions is the shock, not the emotions. The emotions, if you expect them, you will deal with them a lot better. But it's the shock of getting these emotions all of a sudden that makes us struggle to deal with them. Then that's what makes us struggle to deal with a specific problem or a situation. So always expect, I'm not saying to expect the negative and expect the downs or always expect the up after the downs. Don't expect anything, but always expect that you will deal with it perfectly. Always expect that even if you don't deal with it perfectly, you will deal with it. No
Optimism.
matter good, bad, uh, but you'll get through it. You always get through it. It might take longer than you want, it might go faster than you want, um, but you always get through it and you always go through it, you know? But to get through it, you have to go through it. We never get through any situations by going around it.
Of course.
We never see a situation in front of us and we're like, oh, we dealt with that perfectly. How do you deal with it? Oh, I just, dismissed it. It will linger and it will come up again. So to properly get through it, you have to go through it. So trust the process. Trust the process. Trust if you are lacking in experience today, trust your timing and trust the timing of your life that you will get that experience. If you're lacking in skills and in work today, you will get to that level. It's okay. Trust that you will put in the work and you will get there. You have to say that to yourself. You have to repeat that to yourself over and over and over again. Believe it or not, repeat it to yourself. And once you repeat it for long enough, you will believe it. The mind doesn't know the difference.
I agree. Okay, so we talked about the mental capability, we talked about the drive, the initiative. Now I want to move more to physical capabilities and achievements. So, like I said, discussions, we want it to be advice based. For example, if someone at home is watching, young Faisal, young Sultan, young Sara, young Noura, they're watching you, whether it's through the Riyadh season match or a match you've done internationally, and they're thinking to themselves, I want to be a professional boxer. What is step one?
So, literally, step one.
Literally step one. Or step one, two, three. If you had to summarize it very quickly, what do they need to do? They've seen you at home, they've seen you on TV watching the match. They're like, I want to do this. What's the first step?
Well, now we have, multiple gyms all around the country. So you walk into any club and you ask for the boxing gym there. And when you find the boxing gym there, you will find the boxing trainer there and you just ask for the boxing trainer. And they will take it from there. Every single boxing trainer in the kingdom today has been educated, has, earned their stars as a coach, and they know exactly how to handle young boxers, especially too. Usually, the age where you get into boxing is around 7 and 8 years old.
Okay.
Anything before that, you're gonna be a little difficult to handle the cognitive demands.
Mhm.
But after at 7 and 8 years old and above, it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot easier to manage the cognitive abilities. So just walk into a club,
And just
ask for
ask
the
for the
coach
trainer.
there, and your journey will take off from there. And the tournaments are being set up,
Mhm.
they're ready. There are tournaments happening every weekend. There are major tournaments happening 3, 4 times a year. So your journey will take on. Like I said, we are the boxing capital of the world today. So the best place to start boxing in the world today is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We have the best setup. We have the best potential. We have the best support. We have the best equipment. All of it, and you're gonna start in an era where the kingdom needs you just as much as you need the kingdom.
Exactly. I want to ask you, Ziad, what's your ultimate goal? In your long term, what's your ultimate dream? You love boxing, of course, but what
Yeah.
is it? What would be the goal?
Well, ultimately, boxing or not, I just want to be a champion for the people. That's
Okay.
what they call the people's champ. I want to become the people's champ. I want someone to look at my journey and whatever they are going through in life, they could feel like I could go through that and I could push through that and I could do the same or I could do it better. Or if they could look at my journey and they say, if he pushed through that, I can push through whatever I'm going through. If he is talking about it so vulnerably, so openly, then I can take just 1% of what he said and do it in my life. That's why I talk about everything I go through so openly and vulnerably. One, I have nothing to prove. You know, that's when you peak in life. There are two moments where you peak in life, honestly. The first one is where you feel and you believe that you have nothing to prove. And the second one, and it's the best one, is when you stop caring about what other people think. When you stop caring about what other people think, you peak in life. All of a sudden, you start doing so much more and you start doing it better and you start self expressing. And I feel like we were made and we were, put on earth and built by God on earth with, your own specific catalog and manual. And once you start using it, you start excelling. And once you start loving it, you start peaking in life. And you will only get to that level once you stop caring about what other people think. So eventually, I just want to become the people's champion. But, you know, uh, I just want to become a boxing world champion as well. I
Inshallah.
want to be the first ever Saudi boxing world champion. But I don't want to be the first ever to become the first to do it.
Yep.
I want to be the first ever to open up the door for the hundreds who I'm sure will do it after me, bigger and better even,
Inshallah.
when they look at my journey.
But you never thought long term, after you become a champion, inshallah, which you will, you never thought of opening Ziyad's gym in Riyadh or like some kind of community outreach to support the next generation. I
Of
feel like you'd be
course.
great.
Of course. That's all in my plans. It's all
Inshallah.
in the team's plans, inshallah. But even bigger and more important than that, I want to use my experiences and use my experiences of having been there and done that and knowing exactly what athletes need, what boxers need, what high achievers and Saudi and Arab talents need. I want to use that experience to help out in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in any way that I can. If it's through the government, out the government, in a space that I can create, you know, even just consulting, advising. That's what I want to do. Like I'm in my career now, and I always say that in any talk I gave her in any press conference. I don't do this for me. I do this for the kingdom and I do this for the ones who will come after me. And in boxing, that's frowned upon. For example, in boxing, the coaches and the managers and the fighters, they always tell you, you will only start achieving once you start actually feeling like you're doing this for you. If I was doing it just for me, it wouldn't mean anything. It would mean nothing if I was doing it just for me. But because I'm doing it for me, the kingdom, the family, the friends, the ones who are going to come after me, the world champions that I could get to open the door for, and all of that, then it means so much. So I am not doing anything myself. I feel like God is doing it all through me. And then we will see bigger and better champions that will come after me.
Inshallah. I feel like you're the ideal guest for discussions because you're so open to giving advice. You're so open to supporting the next generation. That's quite literally our mission here. Okay, so I do want to ask a very direct question. Part of discussions, we have so many incredible guests that come, and they're all so passionate about all the sectors that they work in. But passion can only get you so far. I think in order for you to pursue a career long term, it has to be sustainable. When we say sustainable, I mean financially. So, how do boxers make money? That's my biggest question. And is it even sustainable long term?
So it is very sustainable long term because only if you push your ego aside.
Okay.
So you said passion is not enough. I think passion is the only thing you need sometimes
Really?
because sustainability will come from passion. Because if you are passionate about a specific something, you will be passionate about excelling in it and succeeding in it. So once you are passionate about exceeding and excelling and excelling, then you will start looking for ways to always sustain that and maintain that. And when I say that, I mean, for example, personally, in my journey as a boxer, I have to also think, okay, I want to sustain this for as long as possible. I want to not just be a boxer, but be an athlete.
Hmm.
Then once I got to becoming an athlete, I pushed beyond that. I was like, no, I actually don't want to just be an athlete. I want to be a figure. And once you keep pushing to excel in your purpose, you have to push your ego aside. And once you do that, you will look for other ways to sustain it, but still tie it into your field. For example, in boxing, I am my team or God. I don't want to say I, but God, my team, my management, in my career have done very well for me commercially.
Okay.
So, as a boxer, you want to sustain your career, you have to grow your brand. I believe that today everything revolves around your brand, who you are as a person. People want to know who you are. They are not really invested in what you do as much as who is the person doing it. And once you start building that brand, once you start commercializing that brand and you push your ego aside, you will start doing everything you are passionate about. Everything. So once you push your ego aside, you're gonna let go of the stuff that you might think is cringe, you know?
Yeah,
And
you mean,
once you push away the things that you might think is cringe, that's when you peak in life because you stop thinking about what people
exactly.
think and stop caring about what people think. So you might start your own podcast. You might start doing the magazine shoots. You might start sending the messages and the DMs, shooting your shot at opportunities without thinking that your ego won't let you.
Of course.
So, as a boxer, you have to always build your brand. You're not just a boxer and you're not just an athlete. You could become a figure. You could become a David Beckham. You could become a Michael Jordan who has the shoe line now, or David Beckham, where if you walk in the streets, sometimes people don't even know he was a football player. They just think he's a very good looking guy.
Or Victoria Beckham's husband.
Exactly.
Joking.
Because they've just been a very good commercial family, them.
Yeah.
But you are more than just a boxer and you are more than just an athlete. You have a much bigger purpose, and then just build your brand. Do whatever you are passionate about because passion is enough. It's just you have to channel passion without ego. But if you try to channel passion with ego, then passion is not enough for sure. And it's not sustainable. Passion and ego
Not a good
are
mix.
enemies to each other. But once you eliminate ego, passion really excels.
There's a book called Ego is the Enemy. I think you'd like it. That's very good because what you're saying is very similar to what the book has. Like that brings me next to my the question I have, perfectly. What role does social media play in your career as a professional boxer?
The biggest effect and impact I can have on people today is through social media.
Okay.
But it's a very fine line and thin line between positive impact and negative impact. So the more I can do stuff that people need to do themselves, but there isn't enough of people doing it, the more I can positively impact more people to do it. For example, in the Arab world, in Saudi Arabia, we are still new to and I believe honestly, not just Saudi Arabia, not just the world. If I'll be very honest, in the world, no matter which country or which side of the world tries to convince you they are advanced in it or they are very familiar in it, they are not. When you speak about mental health, when you speak about the ability to speak about mental health, but with confidence, with no shame, with having no shame in vulnerability, being confident in your vulnerability, and then being able to trust that those small vulnerabilities that you're opening up about is step one of solving them, or is step one of making them better. And if they don't need solving or they don't need making better, then it's step one of you of the word is on the tip of my tongue, of embracing it.
Okay.
So some vulnerabilities are better even when embraced, and they feel better when embraced. So I feel like I get to impact as many people as I can through social media, but because I try to do it the right way. And the only way to sustain doing it the right way and to sustain positive impact is to truly be yourself. Don't try to copy anyone else.
Mhm.
Don't try to preach what anyone is trying to preach. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to act like someone else. Again, we were born and we were put on earth with our own catalog and manual that can help so many people. But only if you talk, only if you let it out and be vulnerable with no shame and speak about the things that you feel like other people will be better if they speak about. Do the things that you feel like other people will be better if they do. You're a role model and you have to live life even if it's not true, even if you don't think it's true. It's always true, to be honest. If you are a celebrity or not, if you're an influencer or not, people are always looking up to you. And if they're not looking up to you, they're always watching what you do. And if you are doing something that they are impressed by or they respect, they will start looking up to you. I have friends in my circle who I idolize. I have friends, I have managers in my team who I look up to and idolize. They don't know that, but I know that. Like I have a circle of maybe four friends, okay, and that team, they're the ones that come with me every fight week. Fight week is the week before the fight. That's where we taper down. We do a lot of media, but that's where the most pressure and stress and anxiety and expectations. That's where most of it hits. If you don't have the right people around you, you will manage it very badly. But if you have the just perfect people around you, you will manage it perfectly. So I have that circle of four people. And even though I might not have said it to them directly, these four know that I look up to them and that I idolize them.
Tell
And
them.
that's why, well,
You
they
should
listen to this podcast.
No, they listen. They know.
They they know that I idolize them and they know that I look up to them, and that's why they're around me that week. Because one of them is so calm whenever any bad thing happens. And then the other one is so positive all the time. And then the third one is very a tawakkul kind of person. Submit everything to God. Any result that will come, good or bad, it's positive. And then the fourth one, I don't know how, but this guy, some people just يعني تتفائل خير when they are there, they just give you positive vibes. When they're there, their presence is positive.
It's
Their
contagious.
presence makes you feel like everything is gonna be all right. So these four are essential to me winning or losing a fight. These four are essential for
So
me
they've been
fighting.
everywhere with you.
And wherever they live, one of them lives in Spain, two of them live in the States, they always try, and then one of them is always just world touring. So whatever happens, no matter what they have during fight week, they put me first and they put themselves second. And then they travel, they come, they push all work, all studies, whatever it is aside. And that's why these four are essential. They're essential to what I think. So I'm only saying this because you have to know that there's
Circle.
always someone watching. There's always someone that's looking up to you. And there's always someone that's going to respect something you do and they're going to try to copy what you do. So always just try to be yourself. Be yourself, shamelessly.
That's the advice I always get from my mom. I always feel like you're constantly putting in the work, you're working these insane hours, and you feel like it's not paying off, or you feel like directly it's not, but there's people watching you at home. You get those DMs, you get those messages, and it's making an impact on people.
Exactly.
I think it's beautiful what you're doing. Okay, so I think we're down to our last 15 minutes. I got the signal. So I'm going to kind of speed through the questions. Okay, so you can answer it or not. It's up to you. But who is your toughest opponent so far and why?
My toughest opponent so far is myself.
I thought you would say that. I knew you'd say that.
Yeah, my 100%. My toughest opponent is myself, just because of the pressure I put on myself, the stress I put on myself, the expectations and standards that I set for myself. But it's not for me. It's so I'm able to, like you say, sustain that influence and sustain that influence that I can have on the ones coming after me. So I never in any training camp, again, contrary to belief in the sport of boxing, they think that you open up the laptop and you keep studying your opponent. We don't do that. You focus on you. The best version of you will be able to handle anything on fight night. And if it's not true physically, it has to be 100% believed in and true mentally. Because if you believe it mentally, then it becomes true. It doesn't matter if it's not true physically. If you believe it mentally, then it's true. Because that's just how the mind is. Again, the mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. That's why we always preach positive thoughts all the time, self talk in a positive way. So the more you say it to yourself, the more real it becomes.
What role does tawakkul play in your life or career?
Everything, everything, and it's the fact that knowing that you won't always feel it, but you always have to believe in it. That makes tawakkul so much easier. So you have to understand that it's naturally to not always feel like everything is gonna be okay. It's natural. You're only human. Sometimes you're always gonna feel like you're a bit worried, you're a bit scared, you're a bit this, but you have to always believe that everything is gonna be okay. Good or bad, it's a positive result. You know, what makes a negative result a failure is you quitting, is you interpreting that way, is you thinking of it that way. And what makes a positive result a success is only us thinking of it that way, and is only us interpreting that way what a positive result is. But in a regular world without any success and failure, a positive result is just a result and a negative result is just a result.
Hmm.
It's how you interpret it that makes it a success or a failure. So tawakkul in the sport plays, in the sport or in life, in my life in general too, plays everything. That everything is going to be all right. But tawakkul, I think we need to understand that it will come with the more you believe in it, and it will come with the work you put in for it. And when I say that is, let's talk about, for example, our five prayers as Muslims, right?
Mhm.
I believe tawakkul goes hand in hand with the five prayers. Some people um, pray all five, but maybe they don't pray everything on time. I feel like then tawakkul becomes harder because the five prayers are spaced out so perfectly to make tawakkul easier. So if you are ever stressed about anything, you are praying every 2 hours or every 3 hours, you know? So when it's perfectly spaced, whenever you're stressed and worried, you get 15, 20 minutes every 2, 3 hours where you just sit, no phone, no anything, and you just sit and you pray and you calm down, you meditate and you talk to God, and you ask for something, and then all of a sudden after prayer you're always confident that it's gonna happen. Then 2, 3 hours later the negative thoughts start to linger again,
True.
but then you pray again. So when you pray it in the way it's perfectly spaced out, then tawakkul becomes so much easier. Look, psychology is all good and I love psychology and it's taught me so much. But psychology, I personally believe as a Muslim, is just religion with different terms.
Exactly.
Positive self talk and positive thoughts is dua in prayer.
Manifestation, literally dua.
Manifestation, law of attraction, the hadith that's inna al-a'malu bin-niyat.
Mhm.
I don't think that hadith is only actions are judged based on intentions. I truly believe that hadith means before an action happens, you have to intend it. Inna al-a'malu bin-niyat. So an action is based on intention, and an action will only happen after intention. So that's what I think it is, you know? And then تفاءلوا بالخير تجدوه. You know, if you think of the positive, you'll get the positive. If you believe in the positive, you'll get the positive. That's all in psychology. So again, positive thoughts, positive self-talk, dua and prayer. Meditation and nasal breathing and deep breaths, that is what we do in prayer. So I feel like, yeah, psychology has helped me a lot and everything, but it all revolves around tawakkul and all revolves around religion. I mean, it all ties into each other. No matter what faith or religion, honestly, you believe in, if you believe in, you know, this religion, that religion, the universe, just have faith in something and then everything is gonna linger and link into each other.
I was asked on a panel. I was speaking in Jeddah. It was a leadership panel. They brought in leaders from different sectors, and they asked me, "What book would you recommend everyone reading at least once?" And I said, "The Quran." It doesn't matter what religion
100%.
you are. I quite literally said, I have a friend who's Baptist, hardcore Baptist Republican from Texas, and she read the Quran in English, and I told her read it just because it teaches you everything you need to know about compassion, biology, investment, the way we treat other human beings. Quite literally, it teaches you everything you need to know in this life.
Yeah.
Just read it, even if you're not even Muslim, even if you're not religious. It has everything in there. So why wouldn't you use that tool?
It's a guidebook.
Exactly.
It's
It's
honestly
easy.
a guidebook. It's the book Psychology 101. Try to read this one. It's gonna be the same.
Literally. And it's easier to understand at times, Annie. So, okay. I really want to ask you this question. I don't know if it's relevant to what you do, but what does the role of networking play in boxing? Is it important or is it not important at all?
Your network determines your net worth.
Okay.
That's a saying and a sentence you have to live by.
Even in boxing.
Your net worth doesn't determine your network. Your network determines your net worth. In boxing, in life, in everything. Before my pro debut, I used to travel with my coach to all the big fighters. He used to train just to network, just to know this manager, this publicist, because my coach trains very big fighters. And I was just starting out. I didn't know when my pro debut would be. Saudi Arabia hadn't invested in boxing yet. They hadn't found out about Ziyad Al-Maayouf in LA training. Where they hadn't found out about any of that stuff. So I used to just travel to network. So when it's time for my pro debut, I know this manager, I know this publicist, I know this PR, I know this coach, I know this gym, even in this city, in that country. That's what determines your net worth. And then when it was time for me to start, I knew the managers, I knew the PRs, the publicists that got me the deals, that got me the commercials, that got me the fights, and from there it takes on. But if you don't know who does it, you won't be able to do it. Even if you have the ability to do it, knowing who can make you do it and knowing who can get you there, even if you don't have the ability, you'll do it.
That's true. So we're approaching the end of our interview. I do have one more question we ask all of our guests, and then we're going to go into rapid fire, if that's okay.
Okay,
Fun,
yeah.
quick questions, okay? Very light, not too dramatic. So obviously, I've said it before with discussions, my goal is to bring information to our viewers. So anyone at home is looking at you and wants to follow in your footsteps. As a professional boxer, as a Saudi professional boxer, what advice would you give someone wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Do it as a Saudi professional boxer, not just any professional boxer, but as a Saudi and Arab professional boxer. To any Saudi professional boxer, I say do it for everyone else more than yourself. So do it for everyone. So when you're on this journey, it's gonna be so tough. It's gonna be so demanding. It's going to make you doubt yourself so many times, doubt the journey so many times, rethinking the journey so many times. But if you live this journey feeling and knowing that so many others are counting on you more than you are counting on yourself to make it, you'll continue doing it. So do it for Saudi, do it for the kingdom, do it for the future, the ones who are looking up to you, the ones who want to come after you, and then you will achieve bigger and better and higher. Sometimes just yourself is not enough.
That's beautiful, honestly. Okay, rapid fire. Okay, it's very fun, very light. Don't think too much. It'll
Okay.
be easy and fun. Okay. We already talked about this. So, what was your favorite punch? You said.
Jab, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Do you prefer training in the morning or evening?
Evening.
We talked about this, yeah. What's your go to pre fight meal?
Pasta.
Pasta?
Yeah, of
You
course.
eat pasta before your fights?
Yeah, before you have
Really?
you have to carb load.
Really?
Yeah, you have to get as many carbs in as you can, but hours before the fight though.
What type of pasta?
Or
just boiled noodles, that's it?
no. It has to be. It's just a tomato pasta, no cheese, no nothing.
Got it. Okay, interesting. Who's your boxing role model?
My coach.
Nice. What's your most memorable fight you've ever had?
The most memorable fight I've had was a fight called actually my second fight. بالدرعية. It was my second fight, and I was fighting an opponent who had 3 wins, 0 losses. And I love that fight so much because it represents my life. I got knocked down in the first round. 30,000 people in the arena, by the way. 30,000 full. I was the fight right before the main event. Um, I got knocked down, and I was calm. I was composed. I used my visualization that we practiced. Me and my mental performance coach. He's like a sport psychologist. We practiced visualization. I got knocked down. I got back up, and I still won the fight. So regardless of the knockdown, I got back up and I won the fight. That's very memorable. And I feel like being the first ever Arab to fight with Riyadh Season is my second memorable. Because the first ever Arab to fight with Riyadh Season is now a Saudi. And that's something nobody can ever take away.
Yeah. If you weren't a boxer, you would be.
If I wasn't a boxer, I would be.
I feel like an inspirational speaker or a psychologist.
Yes, something like that.
This is what your calling
probably,
is.
Probably, yeah, probably just a speaker somewhere.
I see it
out there.
You have this talent, mashallah alayk. You have this talent to connect with people.
Thank you.
So I know our viewers are going to benefit from this episode.
I hope.
Inshallah. Okay, favorite music to get pumped up to? Do you listen to any music?
I actually, the calmer the music, the more pumped up I get.
Really? It's like Bach and Chopin and like classical music?
It's very weird. I could be in training listening to, no, but not that bad, but like, I could go like blues.
Okay.
You know, the calmer it is, the more focused I am, and the more focused I am, the more pumped up I am.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. What's your secret talent outside of the ring?
My secret talent, I'm very funny.
You are. Naturally. But it's good. It's a good like presence as a boxer. Yeah. It's good. Okay. I think we talked about best of advice. Yeah. So your favorite boxing movie?
My favorite boxing movie, Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man? I haven't seen it.
You have to see that one.
Is it good?
A great movie.
Have you seen it? He's like, yeah, I've seen every movie.
That's a good movie. Southpaw too. Southpaw is a great movie, yeah.
I thought you were going to say like Rocky or something.
No,
or like the basics. No. He's like, no, not that.
It has to be a deeper story.
Okay. What's your ritual kind of before stepping into the ring? What do you do?
With the 4 people that I was telling you about, my, these are my childhood best friends. We kind of huddle up, and we have one of them is a very like the religion guy. That's what I call him. I only call him that because the first ever fight, we had to put a formal name for him so he could get approved by the commission to come into the locker room, and I wrote religion guy. But his name is Yusuf, and he's the one that leads the prayers, and we do like a small family of us 4 just prayers before the fight. After those prayers, I could beat anyone.
Inshallah. It's amazing. Do you have a favorite training partner? Is it 4?
Yeah. He's one of my childhood best friends as well. He comes with me to the training camps. So this guy is different. You know, the others come fight week, and he comes with me to the training camps. He's on his own journey. He's also a pro boxer himself.
Nice.
But we always do the training camps together, no matter the schedules. Like if I have a fight or not, he will come and do the training camp with me. If he has a fight or not, like if he has a fight in a time that I don't, I will go to the training camps with him, just because we're not going to leave ourselves solo. We don't do that.
I like that. What's the hardest thing about being a boxer?
The hardest thing is the isolation, but it's also the best thing.
Okay.
Because with isolation comes elevation and thoughts, mentally, ideas, performance, everything. But it's definitely the hardest thing.
Interesting. What's one thing fans don't know about you?
One thing fans don't know about me.
They know you're funny.
I love to act.
Really?
I love to act. If I wasn't a boxer, I'd be an actor.
Would you ever do something in like Saudi film?
I hope.
I know a few filmmakers. Aslan Ibrahim Hajjaj is coming on soon, so I'll talk to him and we'll connect you.
I wish. Yeah. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go into acting.
Okay, so how do you unwind after a tough fight?
With the people that I surround myself with that understand that I'm still going to be in that mental space after a fight. Because I've been alone for 8 weeks, and I'm so used to pressure, stress, and fighting an opponent and preparing for an opponent and living up to expectations and this and that. For 8 weeks, every day you think about it, you know, it's like nonstop. So when I'm surrounded by the right people who know me, and they, you know, they love me for me and they love what I do, they understand that, you know, Ziyad can be with us, but he's not really with us. But us being with him is enough. So they just let me be. They don't come and ask, what's wrong? why are you down? Why are you not?
Yeah.
I'm not down and I'm not negative. I'm actually very happy. I'm just used to.
You're in your bubble.
Yeah,
You're still
exactly,
mentally there.
exactly. I'm still mentally.
That
The
must
fight
be
is over,
interesting.
but it's not over here. Just gonna take a week or two. Then I'm out of it.
That's so interesting. So I have another question. This is just a personal question.
Yeah.
Do you kind of surround yourself with family when you're in that like post prep mindset, or do you kind of seclude for a while?
No, I do. I
Okay.
surround myself. I'm very family oriented,
Mhm.
and my family we're a very family oriented family. You know, like all Saudi families, like most Saudi families, you know, your family becomes kind of your life, and I feel like there's the family also you were born with, but there's also the family you choose. And my 4 or 5 friends that I'm telling you about,
Mhm.
that group is also my family, but the family that not I chose, but we all kind of chose each other. I really do love them, so that's why I
That's
I
amazing.
speak about them a lot.
No, this is good. It's a nice message for them. But actually, when I
Yeah.
see the interview, it's a nice
Yeah.
message to them.
They're gonna roast me on the group chat.
Yeah, let them roast because it shows how much they mean to you. I'll say it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You guys mean a lot to him. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay to say it. Ziyad, thank you so much. Those are
Thank
all
you
the
so much.
questions that I've had. You've been so gracious. You've been so open to answering so many questions. And I know the advice that our viewers are going to receive from this episode is so important. It's so pivotal. You know, I consider you a role model now. I've been watching you
Oh,
for
thank you
years,
so much.
Yani, and what you've done through Arab News, through different platforms, through the interviews you've done. And having you here is really a privilege. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you
It's
for
been
having me.
wonderful.
Keep doing your thing and
Inshallah.
preaching your purpose.
Bigger and bigger things.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much, Ziyad. And thank you for watching. We hope to welcome you back on the other discussions in the future.